Another edition of TigerBait Live is on tap for tonight. Buddy Songy in the house with me, Mike Scarborough, publisher of TigerBait.com. And I think we've got a lot to talk about. LSU spring game at 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon. LSU versus Ole Miss after a loss to the ULL Raging Cajuns in baseball last night. Haley Van Lith, the All-American guard from Louisville, was on campus Monday night through yesterday. And should have some tidbits on that I can share with you tonight. And we can talk about all that. Recruiting. McBride's going to go down from Denham Springs on Saturday. And is that going to be the only commitment that could happen? I think there's a lot more that's going to be coming the LSU football program's way as far as recruiting goes. We can talk about all that more tonight. We're going to go for about an hour till 9 o'clock. And as always, if you're enjoying the show, hit that like button and spread the word. Welcome in, buddy.
Good to see you. A publisher. This is the first time I've ever heard him declare him
being a
publisher,
tonight.
The owner, and the biggest guns in the media right now following LSU football. I'm kind of laid back tonight. Mike's going to carry the show. I'm going to be the sidekick tonight. We do have tidbits on spring game. I'm going to give you some numbers. You're going to see some numbers you're not familiar with. We've talked. We'll find out tomorrow morning when the media meets with Brian Kelly what the format of the game is going to be doing. Chris Gordy, Locked on the SEC Podcast, Houston Radio, actually said he watched 7 spring games on Saturday. And I'm going like, are you kidding?
I'd rather stick needles in my eyes.
Well, no. I mean, but look, folks, you're not going to see much. Mason Smith came back. Good to see big number 0 in the uniform again. Deshaun Womack actually finally got out there a little bit. We'll give you updates. Major Burns out. We hadn't seen Mac Markway the last couple times. Hadn't seen Greg Penn. So as we go out there, we continue to see them accumulate injuries. But I think the SEC has probably told them, look, everybody's doing this, so you're going to have a spring game. So you're probably going to see ones against ones. Mike and I were talking today, 40 to 50 plays, and then twos against twos and scrubs. Who knows what they're going to do on special teams. And by the way, did you see the Mississippi State football field? It is in shambles. They're supposed to know how to grow grass over there, not smoke it. And lo and behold, somebody torched their field. But look, it's a spring game. We'll give you tidbits. Trey Holly, is he the next Clyde Edwards?
I really think he's the guy to watch Saturday. I think he's likely the guy that's going to do the most. For some reason, I think that's going to be the guy that's going to get people oohing and on. Brian Kelly was at the Zurich Open on Saturday. He gave the local media, about 6 or 7 minutes, and he kind of mapped out what it's going to be on Saturday. And so the number one offensive line, and he's, he'll claim he's got 9. The question is, what is it? You're saying up to 40 plays. I tend to think we're probably going to have a lot more special teams than we've ever seen before. But it's going to be interesting to see how they, what are they obligated for the SEC network? Is it an hour and a half? Is it
I don't know. I saw a little bit of Florida. I have not seen Ole Miss. Walker Howard and Ole Miss look good, but once again, do they have enough defense? Look, Alabama this weekend, LSU this weekend, and you and I were talking about it. At what point are they going to get out of this contract of making sure you have a spring game?
And then who's the on-field talent? Because if a game like this that's going to be sparse and not wall-to-wall action because they don't have the players to do it, and you've got an on-field personality down there trying to talk to Brian Kelly the whole game, those are awful.
Yeah.
Especially you have somebody who doesn't have the chops for it. You can see coaches just getting aggravated. And what they're doing is they're trying to fill time.
Yeah.
And so I hope they have canned stuff. I don't know if they can bring Mulkey in and interview her. They might have to do some unique things. I have no idea.
He is Kim Mulkey's biggest fan, and rightfully so. People still talking about the impact. We have talked about it on other shows. Does this put indirectly, because coaches will always tell you, oh, you son of a guns, don't put pressure on us. We have it inside us. It's internal. But let's be honest. Matt McMahon's doing good things, folks. Vanilla Ice. Will Baker, a 7-foot left-handed shooter that can shoot the 3. Carlos coming over from, obviously, Carlos Stewart, in case you missed it, Santa Clara. And Jalen Cook, excellent. Three
Baton Rouge area kids coming home.
So Matt's doing better. Kim is knocking them dead, and now I think announcements are coming real soon. And Jay Johnson, man, 10 straight weeks of being number one. But right now, whatever car he's driving, it's kind of shaking a little bit. I think they get a little bit of a wall and they get tired. And let's give the Cajuns credit. They played better, they looked better, they wanted it more, and they did the fundamental things. But when Dylan Cruz and Trey Morgan and those guys are losing fly balls, I mean, you're thinking about something else. So hope they got a day off. They go to Ole Miss this weekend, and 5 more weekends of that.
Well, typically when the Cajuns beat LSU on a Tuesday night, LSU wins national championships.
I think it's happened a couple times before.
Yes, at least twice. All right, guys, let's get to some of these. Gary Williams, how's it going, guys? Glad to have you with us. Barry Barbier, good LSU PR on Hulu's documentary, Algiers, America, about Edna Carr High School. I haven't seen that. Is it good? I'm always looking for something to watch. I'll check it out. And Carr, as you know, has players every single year. Hal Jubin, Mike, any word on Haley Lith? I think LSU's the team. Now, is it tomorrow? Is it next Tuesday? When is she going to announce? I have no idea. I thought going into the visit Monday night, which was the worst kept secret in town, for some reason people thought the news broke yesterday morning. Everybody knew she was in Monday night. She was seen at the airport with a big entourage, eating at the supper club Monday night. And, of course, we had the exclusive photo of her yesterday afternoon.
And Jaden Daniels is even nodding his head. By the way, Jaden Daniels, 6'4", 205, Nussmeier over 200. And those guys are going to look good on Saturday. We always ask this question, Mike. We're talking about women's basketball and the transfer portal and what they're going to bring in. And I apologize. Last week I was wrong. I said May 1, May 15th. Mike corrected me. It was April 15 to April 30 for football. So if you want to leave your school, you've got to do it in 11 days. You don't have to name the destination, but you have to do it. Who's going to leave LSU and who are they going to bring in? We've talked. I want to see another corner. I still think that's an area that they could address going forward.
Is Brian Kelly still in negotiations with John Fetterman for the defensive line coaching job?
You asked a question about the D-line, and he gave you
the same
answer.
And Smokey's got it a little bit further down, and I'm Italian Smokey. Says, I saw BK on OTB, said emphatically he believes Jaden Daniels could be the best quarterback in the country this year. Well, that ties into what we said the other day. That got a few people upset when we suggested that, I think it was probably me that said it, right, in our last practice report, that I thought Jaden Daniels would be the guy you take to SEC, or was it you?
I said that, but you've been talking him up, and look, we've talked about it. The question is, can he, when he goes back, sling it and let it go down the field, vertical, over the middle, deep ball? He throws a great deep ball, but he did have some brain farts, and you know, we know 2 games under 90 yards passing. I don't think you'll see that this year. But, look, Nussmeier is going to give you the cannon if he can get rid of the propensity to throw to turnovers. So there's no doubt. I think they take Jaden Daniels, and they're going to promote him for the Heisman and all that other stuff. But got to keep him healthy. And interesting to see how much run pass this year with that big old line, man. You get Lance Hurd and all those other guys coming in August. Come October, man, you're going to have a pretty dominant offensive line, I feel like.
Absolutely. And speaking of Bart Smokey, if you're overwhelmed by all the news and social media in today's world, it's hard not to know what the real facts are. It's so difficult to sift through all the information at your fingertips. That's where the Smokey investment team comes in to help you manage your money and make the decisions best suited for you and your family. No matter what your life situation is at the moment, getting married, starting a family, changing jobs, children going to college, or retiring, they are there to support you in making the best investment decisions for best individual situation. When you invest your money with the Smokey investment team, you get over 30 years of investment experience to give you the confidence to make those all-important decisions. Let Brian or Bart Smokey help you pursue the future you want. Call them at 318-448-3201. That's 318-448-3201. Securities and advisory service offered through LPL Financial, registered investment advisor, member FINRA/SIPC. Nobody better right there now, Alexandria. In fact, I need to reach out to those guys myself. And big thanks to Bart and Brian for sponsoring all our spring reports. And we'll have a post-game report from Preston and I will be doing that one on Saturday after the spring game. And there's going to be a lot of work on Saturday. We're going to have video for you. There's a lot of recruits on campus. We've got a running thread on our message board, and we're adding to it. We've got 2 recruiting updates I'm going to be posting after the show tonight. And so a lot going on at TigerBait. And but again, thanks to Bart and Brian.
Yeah, and Bart, look, we'll have a little bit more to chew on in the fall practice reports. Can you imagine? Look, just a quick, 30 seconds. Aaron Anderson, we're going to see what kind of punt returner they are. Makai Wingo and Mason Smith, we're going to see what they really look like as 2 D tackles. Deshaun Womack, can he shake off the rust being hurt and get in there and be a factor? Obviously, we're going to see what is going to happen at corner. J.K. Johnson right now, Zy Alexander looks like he may be the starter. Now, I know he's starting on Saturday, but right now he may be one of those guys that they penciling in for Florida State. We'll see. But all the other guys that have been out and, Major Burns, Greg Brooks, all the injuries, Mason Taylor, all the freshmen coming in. So what you're going to see Saturday is just a glimpse of it. But we will have a lot more, and you and I were talking about it. I think he'll give us a little bit more access with more of the individual drills. Folks, we were so limited because the players with the injuries, you could only see a guy throw over to a dummy or to
that's why
stationary only so many times.
That's why a lot of our Smoky team reports this spring, we threw in some girls basketball and a lot in baseball. We were throwing a lot of stuff in those 10 to 12 minutes.
Deuce Chestnut, is he going to come in and be a slot corner? By the way, you said Trey Hawley, 25. Look at your other 25, Javian Toviano. I love this kid. He's going to get beat sometimes, but he's going to put his neck in there, make some physical tackles. LSU needs more physicality in the defensive secondary. I think you're going to see it this year.
Roger Ramsey, I always enjoy you guys. Keep up the good work. Go Tigers. Glad to have you with us. Bart Smokey, defensive line coach. Man, it's been quiet, hasn't it?
Well, you asked a question, and he gave a pretty succinct
Said
answer.
3 weeks, a week ago.
So he said basically after spring football they'll be able to start interviewing, and obviously Bo Davis is a name that's been mentioned. Jimmy Brumbacher, of course, that was here for a year, a former Auburn D lineman, and other people. By the way, Kyle Williams had his name thrown in. I don't think Kyle wants to coach at college. That's a different lifestyle. We saw it with Kevin Falk, and he's happy being up.
But could you imagine if he did want to be that kind of coach? He would be fantastic.
Well, I know, but I mean, he's got like 4 or 5 kids, and he's over there coaching in high school in North Louisiana. But look, one thing about it, Brian Kelly will hire a good coach, and I was very impressed with John Jancic talking about special teams. I'm going to make a blockbuster statement tonight. Special teams will be better in 2023.
Well, there's a lot of people out there just reading the comments on our Jancic video on YouTube, and then other places it's people, still kind of iffy on, running special teams by committee if it'll actually work.
Yeah, well,
but I tend to think, maybe they're onto something where it gets everybody on the staff plugged into it, and it becomes a focus for everybody.
Well,
all right. So in the next couple of weeks, a defensive line coach, and then what do you think the over/under is on how many current LSU players get in the portal after the spring game?
Man, that I don't have any idea.
3, 4?
Yeah, I would say I think most players are buying in on what
I might say 3 is the over/under.
Yeah.
And okay. So you have to decide if you're going under or over. I think 3 might seem about right.
Yeah, 3 or 4. We'll see. How many are they going to bring in?
And then and then how close, once the dust settles in August, are they to 85?
Right. Well, we've been asking that question.
Are they 10 down?
Well, I think Kelly will get that question tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Kenny Futch, good evening, Mike and Buddy. Thank you. Guys, hit the like button if you're enjoying the show big time. And please share the show. Hit that share button. Share it to your Facebook feed. Text it to your LSU buddies. Share it in the LSU groups, etc. Much appreciative when you guys spread the word. And also, big thank you to all of you for hitting the subscription button and notification bell. Our YouTube channel the growth has been outstanding, and it's all due to you guys. Andy Whitaker, FizzBuzz, longtime subscriber to TigerBait, one of our most active guys on our message board. Will we have a freshman standout this year like Perkins was last year, and who would that be? Well, if it's not true freshman, you're going to include redshirt freshman. You know who I'm going with.
Who?
Aaron Anderson.
Well, I want to see. Yeah, Aaron Anderson obviously has a chance to be special. I want to see, obviously, what he looks like. We hadn't seen him at all because he hadn't been out there. But Fit got after me because I don't interact enough on the board. So I'm going to make a concerted effort to do that a little bit more in football season. But I really, look, Mike thinks I'm a homer and I'm crazy. I'm looking at this schedule, and there are a lot of front-loaded away games. 4 of the first 6 games of the season are either neutral, which is in Orlando, Florida State, and then 3 road games. And then 5 of the last 6 are at Tiger Stadium, and the 1 road game is at Bama. So my thing to you is that, man, Ole Miss, you play on September 30th. That's week 5. Do they have a defense to beat LSU? Arkansas is not in LSU's league in recruiting and overall programming and talent. Mississippi State, like I said, don't even have their grass working right now. They usually have some of the best turf. They got to transition with a coach. That's going to be hard to replace the Pirate. Come on. That's going to take 2 or 3 years. And then, of course, Florida State. That's a big, big opener. After that, they're going to be favored in every game other than Alabama, and you want A&M the W more than anybody.
Yeah. Last year, what was it, May or June when Vegas came out and said 7-5 was the odds on LSU, right? Over under. And everybody in the media here went 8-4 probably. Yeah. Might have been one that went 9-3. But I think it was across the board. Anybody who's actually covers the LSU beat and resides in Louisiana, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Monroe, wherever they come from, and are in the press box on Saturday nights, the consensus was 8-4 across the board. So if you're Las Vegas, what is that number this year? What do you set the over? We're setting over and unders right now. I think they're probably going to be at 10-2, and then you have to decide whether you're going to take the over or the under.
And Vegas could.
And I think the majority of media people are probably going to go 9-3.
Well, I was going to say Vegas could put 9.5, and then you go over, it's 10. You go under, it's 9.
Yeah.
But I'll say this: LSU will be favored in 10 games next year.
Yeah.
We'll see. If you're going to lose,
you just want to see a line where it's like all of a sudden all these guys that you have on the board that you've got asterisks next to because they didn't participate in spring, they're still rehabilitating shoulders and ankles, that all of a sudden one by one you're plugging them in and they're ready to go. And all of a sudden, all those guys are ready, and then plus the infusion of everybody that's going to roll in June. Stephen Young answers and says that Deshaun Womack is that guy. Could be. I like Jackson Howard, says Doug knows. And here's the thing with Jackson Howard. Don't forget. He came as a defensive lineman. He's also an offensive weapon. I'm not,
tight end?
Yeah. I mean, what happens to him a year or 2 from now?
Right.
He wants to be a defensive end, but I don't think he's adverse to going the other way if that position gets clogged up with what they've got there. But been kind of quiet on Quincy Wiggins, hasn't it?
Yeah, Quincy's in the second line. Real quick, Ovi Ogafu and Braden Swinson have been both transfer portal guys at the Jack. Jacoby and Gilroy, Parrish Shan, and then Savion Jones. That's your front. Quincy and Fitzgerald West and Tyge Hill and Swinson are your backup D lineman. I'd like to see Quincy. Got to remember, Quincy hadn't been playing football that long. And Fitzgerald, I don't know if you saw this, but he's down to 300. He has shed on a bunch of weight. And so, of course, Quincy's 93, Fitzgerald 68. They'll be in the mix. 94 is Parrish Shan, one of the guys you won't see. Ogufu is 17, and I think he's going to do a great job from the edge. He'll get a sack or two on Saturday.
I think the point with Jackson Howard, though, is he is a legit athlete.
Yeah.
He can play on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, they like
And
him a lot.
so, you have a rash of injuries at tight end, and you're in a pickle, and you have to do like you did with Fitzgerald West and move him across, only to move him back or however you want to play it. That kid's capable.
And we don't know if any of these guys that are waiting to come in June are going to be blockbusters or if they're going to take a half year or a year to get acclimated. I got to tell you, man, Will Campbell came in early enrollee, started early on in the spring, and the rest is history. Emory didn't come in early, took him, 2 or 3 games. He started at right tackle. Lance Hurd, if he comes in the shape we think he's going to be, he might be too good and too big not to be on that starting 5. And so, and then you got other freshmen that can come in. What's Shelton Sampson going to look like?
If Hurd were to make his way onto that offensive line at some point, where would it be?
Well, he could play right tackle and you move Emory Jones inside to right guard.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to take Will Campbell's left tackle. Emory Jones and Will Campbell, folks, both 6'6", 325, and I think the difference you'll see on Saturday, Mike, very much more vocal. They are comfortable being leaders. That's going to be 2 of the leaders on that football field Saturday.
Sinlaw Tiger, good evening, fellas. Glad to have you with us. Hal Jubin with us every week. Glad to have him with us. Things looking better for the men and the women. Just keep on kicking butt. Hal, I get a kick out of him. The NCAA March Madness has their own Facebook feed, and I guess because of what I post, I get fed that stuff from the women's tournament. And they posted something about Mulkey, and so that's a national feed. And so every negative comment that anybody makes about Mulkey, Hal's there to pick up her slack and rip him a new one. And so I was scrolling the other night and just laughing at Hal's comebacks. Most of them I can't repeat here.
Well, I think the one I saw a day or two ago was the Louisville beat writer for, of course, and Haley's leaving Louisville in the portal. And he said, if she goes to LSU and play for Kim Mulkey, I think I'm going to throw up. Well, baby, if it happens, go ahead and barf.
John Sibley Butler, JD5 will be excellent. Every nose at Nuss can also get an excellent position for the Tigers this year.
So here's the question. Now, we've seen this before, and it was a no-brainer with Joe Burrow. But does LSU make a concerted effort to push him a little bit and promote him a little bit for the Heisman? Or because Jaden is starting to become more comfortable. You could tell it to Mikey Ward.
When do you feel like that the Heisman Burrow campaign really went into gear? When do you think that really hit the level? I don't think it was as soon as after Texas.
Yeah.
Was it after Bama or was it before that?
Well, no. I mean, it started after Texas because they blew.
You guys chime in if you really recall where you felt like the sports information was really starting to get involved.
But they blew the cannon through his jersey, and Joe gave him one of these to bye-bye. And and then that was a great play with Jefferson. We'll never forget that. But his numbers kept bringing you back to it. That's the question. Is Jaden going to?
I don't even know. In fact, while we're saying was there even a campaign, I don't know if there was necessarily one. There didn't need to be.
No, and that's what I'm saying. His actions did all the talking.
The talking heads at ESPN did all the work.
Yeah. So we'll see. I do think that Jaden's certainly got a chance to be the best quarterback in the conference. Look, there's some other good quarterbacks, and so let's just go game by game. But look, that first one. They got a good one. He's against Florida State. So if he wins that battle, if they beat Florida State, man, they got a chance to really, really be special this year.
Yeah, because after that, when do you think is their biggest landmine?
Well, I was just going to say, you can't say Arkansas is better. Mississippi State, Auburn's a mess. Florida's a mess. Ole Miss got the offense.
How quickly, though, can Freeze get them to be respectable? I think they will be.
Yeah, but the defense is the problem. On Auburn and Ole Miss. Same thing with Kiffin. Both clubs are going to struggle. Who's the quarterback at Auburn? Who's the quarterback at Florida? A lot of questions in the summer will be talked about. But LSU, I'm going to say it now, they will be picked to win 9 or 10 games easily.
Stephen Young, Denver Harris has to start day one. Going to be the next great cornerback.
Really? You seen him in practice?
Man, it's been quiet. Is he, where's he at?
He's running with the threes right now.
Is he in the doghouse? Is he in good standing? What do we know?
Micah Baskerville was running with the threes last year, and he ended up starting at the end. Let's just hold off a little bit on saying Denver's going to start and be all this. I think he played about 5 games or 6 games with Texas A&M. But let's see what he looks like on Saturday. Me and Mike will see him for the first time, so if you know more than we do, but let's see what he looks like and what kind of reps he gets on Saturday.
Absolutely.
He's got the physical talent. Can he buy into the culture that he's got to have behavioral patterns? And I think it's pretty much you screw up, bye-bye. So,
Trucking with Casper with a super chat. Thank you again, Casper. Every week comes in and a big supporter of TigerBait. How many players will be drafted? I haven't even totaled that number up.
Yeah, that's.
Have you had anybody on to tell anybody?
No, I'll probably do that next week. But obviously there'll be 7 or 8 that'll get.
Ojulari obviously is the guy who's getting a lot of the notoriety right now.
Still could not believe Jark Bernard Converse did not get an invite to the combine. Ran 4.4.
And how high does he go now?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Him and Garner certainly going, and Jaqueline Roy going to go, and 7, 8, 9, whatever. They're going to, LSU's always going to have their numbers.
Thank you, Casper. Big time. Of course, we're here each and every week thanks to our title sponsor and the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. Let's hear from Pride Roofing.
Hey, it's Michael and Alex again with Pride Roofing. Here we grow again. Did your roof get to Niger and Hurricane Ida?
The insurance company is playing game with you.
Don't forget, August 29th is your 2-year anniversary to make a claim.
Your neighbor got new roof. Why not you?
Pay your deductible. We're fortified, certified.
We do your roof. You came on the Pride umbrella. Bet on Pride.
855
Pride 16.
There you go, Alex, flipping the poker chip at you, and they're having fun with these commercials over at Pride Roofing. Give them a call, 855-PRIDE-16. Tell them you heard about it on TigerBait. They're going to pay for you to have TigerBait Premium free for a year when you call them and ask for your free roof inspection. So you get a free roof inspection, whether it's your commercial business or your home, anywhere in South Louisiana, and they're going to pay for you to have TigerBait Premium free for a year. You can't beat it. So, of course, right there in Albany, Louisiana, a Louisiana-based business, LSU grad, owned and operated. And I've known Mike Faraday my entire life. There's no better people. And so call Pride. You'll be happy that you did.
Both owners have tremendous wives who help out with the business. Yessie and certainly Miss Tammy, they are the straw that stirs the drinks over there. But look, we asked about this last week. We talked about it. Metal roofs are very hot, commercial, residential, whatever. But metal roofs are very hot. Acquisition of Crown Metals has changed the metal roofing business. Just bought a concrete company, always big in community work, helping rebuild. Thank God we didn't have any bad weather and hurricanes last year to speak of, but you will take great pride in the job they do. They get there early. They take care of their business. You're not going to have a guy smoking a cigarette on the phone, fighting with his girlfriend for 20 minutes while they're supposed to be working on your roof. It's not that way. You will be proud of doing business with them, and they will sharpen the pencil. In Baton Rouge, Jorge Martinez. So once again, call him and go see him. And, of course, Pride 855-PRIDE-16 anywhere outside the Baton Rouge area. Call Jorge 275-2041 here in Baton Rouge.
John Sibley Butler with a super chat. Thank you, John Sibley Butler. And he says, thanks for keeping the spirit alive. He enjoys all the LSU talk, and I guess a lot of it's been positive. That's for darn sure the last many months. And but I was going to ask you, we were talking about it while the Pride commercial was running. Again, thanks you, John Sibley Butler, for that. LSU baseball pitching, getting a lot of people really nervous about how good that the depth truly is. How good is the number 2 guy and how good is the number 3 guy? Is there enough there to run the table? Or are you about to see? Are you really seeing the chinks right now?
You know, Mike clicked on the microphone a little early a couple of weeks ago, and I said, "Don't ask me about baseball." And then we cut off on injuries. It has been something. You see Jay Johnson almost every week. It's surprising he hasn't aged much, because when you think about the quality of arms that they have lost, Grant Taylor was their number 2 guy right behind Skeens, out for the year. Chase Shores, ERA under 2, out for the year. Garrett Edwards, under ERA of 2, out for the year. Now, they have not verified Shores and Edwards, but everybody in the know has said as much. And then you start losing position players with Gavin Dugas, Paxton Kling, and obviously Brady Neal. So it has been, Mike even suggested to get a priest, a rabbi, whatever, with denomination you wanted, to go over there and perform an exorcism, because, I mean, they had 11 players out at one point.
And that was before Dugas.
Yeah, but Javen Coleman did come back and pitched for the first time last night, 1 inning, looked good, struck 2 out of 3, looked good. He's going to help them. I'm sure they'll be slow moving him around and back into the mix, but he'll be a reliever and help them. Nasty Nate Ackenhausen.
I bet Father Martin in Prairieville would do it. He did my mom's funeral. I bet he would go over there and do the ceremony.
There's no doubt. Father Cleo over at Lady Mercy. I mean, you could get all kinds of people. But Ackenhausen is coming back. We don't know when. It's a hamstring, not the arm or elbow. Obviously, Thatcher Hurd and Blake Money have been anything but money. And they've got to get it in between their ears. Blake's giving up a lot of dingers, and Thatcher can't get strikes. And I got to say it, because it's disappointed the living hell out of me this year. Watching these frickin' games and the ridiculous consistency of balls and strikes this year. You don't watch every pitch like I do. Thatcher Hurd's got a 2-2 count last night and throws a frickin' strike. Guy calls it a ball. His next pitch is a ball, because he doesn't hit that many strikes the way he's throwing right now. He goes on base, ends up giving up 2 or 3 runs. He gets out the inning if the guy calls the right pitches. If you like umpiring and balls and strikes this year, then you got better eyesight than I do, because I have seen, and I've seen it on MLB level, I've seen it on college level, I don't know about high school, but just trying to track man every pitch, I think you got to get a break. Now, here's the other kicker. There's some controversy about what the Bear, Jared Jones, did after he hit the home run. In case you don't know, Kentucky pitcher Strickland quick pitches him, gets 2 strikes on Jared Jones, says, hold on, steps out the box, gets in, knocks it 453 feet or whatever, and promptly says, and then runs around the bases. He could have been tossed. The umpire, when he comes up to plate the next time, takes him and says, listen, I got a job to do. You can't do that. Do that again. Well, guess what happened later on that weekend? The Florida pitcher, and I don't know what he did, but he did something. There's been some chirping because of the umpiring and the teams. LSU, Kentucky chirping, Florida, Georgia chirping. Florida pitcher gets tossed. So then their star hits a grand slam home run, and as he's running around the bases, it's like this. No mannerisms, no high five, nothing. It was like a mummy running around the base, no celebration. That pitcher ends up having to be suspended for 4 freaking games. If Jared Jones had got suspended for 4 games, the LSU fan base would have gone nuts. So I understand getting spicy. You know I'm never going to criticize anybody for talking back or getting spicy. But these umpires, get a life, please.
We've seen a rash of that.
We don't go to the damn games to see the umpires, the referees, and the officials. And as always, the SEC has found a way, once again, to have worse officiating games than actual talent. Whether it's football, basketball, baseball, it always is less than the actual talent.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sucks.
All right. Let me
Pitiful.
let me scroll up, guys. Mark Chambers, hey guys, are there any players that could play both ways? Thanks, French. I don't know if there's any two-way players. I think you either, if you're needed, you get cross-trained, but nobody who's going to play both ways in a game.
Well, the only guy that we think is feasible would be Jackson Howard, who could play a down or two as a tight end.
But you get the other tight end from Texas that comes in June.
Yeah,
Plimpton.
yeah. Well, no, I'm saying that. I'm just.
But if you really got in a bind and you had a rash of injuries and you were down to one guy,
yeah,
that would be the guy to move.
Tight end, LSU's going to be loaded. Mason Taylor going to be better than ever. Of course, the kid 6'6" to 230 that was a Vandy commit, Pimpton, he's coming in and he's doing great things. And then look, Mac Markway, who also got hurt. If he plays, he'll be 84 on Saturday. Jackson McGowan's 83. He's been out there. Will Campbell, of course, Garrett Dellinger, Marlon Martinez. I guess let's not forget Kimo McAnally. He's got a chance to get a bunch of reps. Emory Jones, Bo Bordelon, and Miles Frazier is back. So 7 scholarship O-linemen to actually play. But Bordelon is cross-training and at the center spot. But, man, I don't remember the last time LSU really had a two-way player that was, consistently doing both.
Guys, again, if you're enjoying the show and you hadn't hit the like button, hit that like button for us. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps us with the YouTube algorithm big time. Much appreciative when you guys do that. Golden Eyes, I hate to deviate from football recruiting talk, but can you please elaborate on this Van Lith spelling recruit? I've been out of the loop. Well, she is an All-American guard from Louisville, grad, and big timer. Wears pigtails like Mulkey. What is her height exactly?
5'7". 5'7". I
She
think
can
that's what they
score.
listed.
She's great defensively. Firecracker. If you watch her highlight tape, she reminds you of Kim Mulkey in how hard she plays. She's put it this way: you add her to what you've got coming in, what you've got returning. And there's a few others out there that she could add in the portal. And Mulkey is legitimately building a dream team.
And this would replace Alexis Morris at point guard. Now, look, Michaela Williams is going to come in, and Kim and the coaches will put her wherever they need her. Flaugier, obviously, is going to be there. Angel Reese, and then you got Samaya Smith and the big girl, Del Rosario, coming in there. Janae Kent and a couple of other guards. I mean, they will be so deep. They played 8 this year, and next year you're probably looking at a lineup maybe going 10 deep. That's how much talent. And also a big scorer from DePaul is in the mix too.
What is going to be the number of season tickets that they sell? I think that number is going to be crazy.
I think what we heard is that Iowa doubled their season tickets, and they love it over there. 5,500 or 6,000 this past year, I want to say, is what I heard last.
I bet that goes to 7,500.
Oh, easy. 7,500 to 8,000.
And that's a huge number. I mean, who would be the biggest nationally?
Well, I don't know.
In women's basketball.
Well, UConn's always doing good, Tennessee, but look, South Carolina, obviously.
South Carolina, yeah.
Now, they lost a ton. 5 players in the top 25 of the draft, 3 in the top 10. And so LSU's going to have.
Well, here's the thing. It's going to drive Kim Mulkey crazy. And but Van Lith comes on board. Got the girl from DePaul and others that could be in the mix with Michaela Williams and all that and what's already here. She's not going to be able to avoid the repeat talk.
Yeah. Well,
and she's going to.
Those Gamecocks. He's going to say, everybody told you last year South Carolina was a shoe-in, and guess who won it? They didn't win it. So we're seeing it's not that easy to repeat. But the SEC, if somebody's going to do it, man, hey, it's going to be SEC. And, of course, Georgia is, once again, looking good. Their spring game, they still have a bunch of 5 stars. have the easiest schedule you'll ever want to see. I think Georgia will actually be picked on Media Day. It's in Nashville this year, July, over Alabama as overall champ this July.
Nurse Court says, "Hey guys, glad to have her with us." Let's see. Let me scroll down.
Good to see you and talk to you, Court.
James Moore, Mike and Buddy. Perkins got exposed in that A&M game because they ran at him. You think he needs to stay at outside linebacker? I think I like what they're going to do with him in the middle, but then also be able to move him around. You saw Brian Kelly light up a week or two ago when he talked about him being an inside guy, not as productive. And Kelly intimated that he ain't just going to be locked in. They're going to move him around. They're going to come up with some special things for him.
But it is a question mark. And look, I'm not going to throw any names out there, but there have been guys that have been better outside that have tried to play inside before. And when you were taking on and trying to stop the A-gap, he's in the will spot. Of course, Omar Spates. I think Omar Spates is going to start. And I'm kind of worried about Greg Penn. We hadn't seen him in practice. I hope he's okay. Hope he's not hurt. Hope he's not thinking about the portal. But the Weeks brothers, Wes and Witt, are also inside. But this is going to be interesting. You get a 330-pound guy, get his hands on Harold Perkins. He's got to learn how to shed. And you've got more help because your D-line is going to give him some support and let him be able to peek and run through alleys. But, man, they're going to use him on the outside as well, too.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know that you'll ever see a performance like that Arkansas game. I mean, that was just – I mean, he won that game for LSU.
Oh. Look, the Alabama game also this past year. Go look at the first half and see his impact.
Yeah.
So Matt House and Brian Kelly are going to do a great job of putting him in the best position. And here's the key. You got to always be flexible, always be moving around. You want teams looking every time they come to the line of scrimmage, where's number 4? He's wearing number 4 this year, not 40. And so we'll see. I want to see. We haven't really not seen any context. So what we see on Saturday is going to be like a virgin touch for the very first time.
Mark Chambers, LSU can't steal a base. That's painful.
Frenchie.
And
they haven't tried to run all year long. Look, the problem with LSU baseball right now is that when you stay number 1 10 consecutive weeks, people think you can win that every game. But they haven't run all year. They don't have anybody that.
Joel Hilburn says, living in Lafayette, I hate, and he types it in all caps, losing to ULL. As someone who lived in Lafayette for 31 years, Joel, I can tell you that they are extremely annoying. Let me clarify that. I loved living in Lafayette. A lot of great friends there. And but they've got a certain percentage of their fan base that makes it impossible for a lot of LSU fans in that city to pull for both teams. They make you choose. They're just miserable human beings. And it's something to behold. And all their issues are LSU's fault. And yet these are the same people who won't spend more than $20 for a ticket. And they've got to lure people to games with fun jumps and face painting and petting zoos for the kids. And they give away free tickets at McDonald's and Happy Meals.
Sound like Will Wade going after the basketball coach.
You know, what their funniest thing, and I'm going to get off him real quick, but he picked a scab. The funniest thing about them is they make fun of LSU fans in the state that did not attend LSU. So what they need to be asked is, are you telling every citizen in Lafayette that you don't want them to come to your sporting events that already are, you can shoot buckshot and not hit anybody unless they attended or graduated from USL? Because if that's the measuring stick, you're really in trouble. And how about quit taking $12 million from the state every year to fund your athletics? Be self-sustaining. Ante up and write your own checks, people.
Oh, that was the scab. Well, look.
Quit mooching off the state is what I'm telling you.
Well, they're not sufficient enough with an athletic department number. Of course, we talked about the.
Well, they want to exhume Huey Long's body and hold him up on trial for keeping them down over 100 years ago.
Yeah, well, all I can tell you is this. They were the better team last night. It was probably a good comeuppance, but as a fan that lives in Lafayette, I feel his pain. I can imagine it's been a terrible day.
What they want to do is they want to convince you that you should enjoy eating that chuck wagon steak at Golden Corral and that it tastes just as good as Ruth Chris. And it doesn't. Yeah, here we go. Mark Chambers. Pitchers have to kick it up a notch and be consistent. Edo, Nuss's bus driver, a lot of excuses for LSU loss last night. They weren't the only team that lost. Bet Torina, a lot of softball fans are irritable right now.
I was waiting for him to bring it to the party.
Yeah, I got a softball friend who gets mad if I don't point out they got some season ticket holders who aren't happy. They think it's plateaued and it's not getting any better. And it ain't going to get any better with Oklahoma coming in the league. All right, let me scroll down.
Real quick, John Jancic was asked about the returners. Greg Clayton was the returner last year, returning punts. He wore number 26. So if you asking who number 80 is on a punt return, that is Greg Clayton. And we'll see what happens. Noah Kane, 21, is going to be your bell cow back along with Trey Hiley. Only two really big-time running backs. Everybody out hurt are waiting to come in. Wide receivers, 2, 8, and 11. Kyron Lacey, much better spring. I think he's going to be more consistent. 8, Malik Neighbors, his money year, as you know. Brian Thomas Jr., how good do you realize you can be? This is the year for him to get that dog in him and go 100% in everything he does because he's got the physical potential. Of course, Landon Ibieta and some of the others. Chris Hilton, would love to see Chris Hilton score a touchdown in Tiger Stadium Saturday. That guy's going through hell with his injury situation. And so, but plenty of wide receivers, and we hadn't even scraped the surface. Jaylen Brown has been hurt a little bit. He's had a hammy. Don't know if he'll participate. Kyle Parker, number 12. Watch him. He's an underrated guy that may be in the mix this year in the 2 or 3 deep.
Absolutely. All right. Let me see one more thing here. I've got to talk about one of our newest sponsors, and we're so happy to have them on board with us, and that's Alumni Hall. You want to show your LSU Tiger pride? Alumni Hall is your ultimate shopping experience. The best and largest selection of apparel for the whole family. Nike, Nike Golf, Champion, Columbia, Peter Myler, Southern Tide, hats, Yeti gifts, and accessories. LSU students, faculty, and military receive 10% off in-store every day, and you can earn cash back with their Hall Pass rewards. Alumni Hall, located in Perkins Row or anytime at alumnihall.com. Alumni Hall, where Tiger fans shop. Beautiful store. Rode through Perkins Row on Saturday, and that place is packed to the gills with new product, and you can actually go over there and tell them you saw them on TigerBait. Do me that favor. You can shop online with them and click an option to pick up in the store. And by the way, if you order anything online that's LSU related from them, it actually ships from their Baton Rouge store. It's not coming from out of state. It's coming from Baton Rouge. So a lot of stuff, if you're in the area, you're going to get in a day or two.
Go see Beth and the staff over there do a great job. Got some Paul Skeens shirts in there, and I am going to go see her this weekend, see if she can get me some of those Chicks Dig the Long Ball T-shirts.
Gorilla Ball. You saw those shirts. I was promoting them on TigerBait.
Yeah.
They sold out of those. I said, y'all need to reorder those. My cousin, she needs a size small. She was upset. They got her a size she needed. Great service over there at brick and mortar store. You want to keep those brick and mortar stores there so you can actually walk in and feel stuff, try it on, and support them.
Fish says LSU baseball does not play for state championships. I'll go back to the thing that Skip Bertman said on his radio show many, many years ago. Guy calls in, Mike. He's pissed off. They've lost to the Raging Cajuns on a Wednesday night game. Skip says, you see, we don't worry about our midweek games. And of course, they ended up winning the national championship that year. I think in 2009, the last time they won the national championship with Paul Maneri, they lost to ULL in that, and somebody else, Nichols and a couple other teams. So it is problematic if you live in Lafayette and you have to listen to the Raging Cajuns fans. But that all being said, look.
Well, they got a lot to look forward to. They've got conference games with James Madison.
Well, no, I'm just
get your tickets.
You're beating them up. You're beating them up. My point I was going to say is Ole Miss barely got into the tournament last year and peaked at the right time and won it. LSU's going to get some of their healthier some of those guys back. If you get the two lefties back, Ackenhausen and Coleman, you get back. Boy, Gavin Dugas, no disrespect to Merrifield and Ben Napoleon, but you're really seeing how valuable he is. And Dylan Cruz is hit a little bit of a ball. Trey Morgan did have a home run. Dylan Cruz hadn't hit a home run in a couple weeks. So let's see if he can go yard, not once but twice. Ole Miss this weekend, 6:30 Friday night digital network. 2 o'clock Saturday on ESPN2. That will conflict. You'll have to be punching and watching both games, spring football and Ole Miss, and then 1:30 on the digital on Sunday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday this week could be rain, so they may play a double dip if there's rain Friday night.
Brian Turner, how will LSU hold up on the line of scrimmage against FSU this time around, especially since they gave LSU so much trouble last year? Now, that's a good question because I haven't studied I haven't looked at FSU that close.
Yeah, you know who the left tackle in that game was? Cam Wire. If you remember, he might have played right tackle. All I can tell you is that he played a lot. Campbell played some, but
okay.
he was. Look, remember Campbell got beat. They had that end that came in, and Campbell.
I can tell you, being down on the field at the end of the game and looking at the size difference, Florida State wasn't that big.
No. But I'm just saying that was a.
But they were
team.
quick.
And they're going to be very good. Travis, their quarterback's really good. It's going to be a great football game. I still think when you line up man to man, LSU's going to be appreciably better at the line of scrimmage, especially on the offensive line. Will was playing in his first game, and Cam Wire was at right tackle, and they had trouble blocking those ends. And that was Jaden Daniels' first game.
I was right there at the end with the miss.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, guys. Let me see. Let me scroll up and make sure I'm missing something we haven't got to. Or here's one. Jordan Presley. Which quarterback do you predict to make more progress this year? Look, I think both of them need evenly to make progress. You can talk about what Jaden Daniels needs to do with the route trees and being successful throwing over the middle and being more accurate and seeing guys running free. He's now for the first time going to have the same passing coach and offensive coordinator 2 years in a row. How old is he now, too? What, 23?
I don't know, but he has put on some really good weight. And I don't think you have to worry about the quarterback situation. Of course, Ricky Collins is going to be swimming on Saturday. He's still got a lot to process. But
Nussmeier, I think
Nussmeier, if he can eliminate those turnovers, then Nuss gives you
my only worry about Nussmeier
set.
is, and you don't want this to happen, but if Jaden Daniels has proven he's durable, even when he was lighter and getting knocked around, and he's like a pinball in a pinball machine, and keeping his feet, and he could take a hit, but if he goes and when you start talking about when are the opportunities to put in a number 2 quarterback. We've seen for the last 15 to 20 years it's difficult.
Yeah.
When do you put them in? And how many scores do you need to be up? Do you feel confident where you're not, nervous about it? But at the same time, you want Nussmeier to get a nice bit of experience this year because he's your guy for 24.
Exactly.
And so you don't want him to have a repeat of last season, where he's only in there if Daniels has to come out for a play or two or a series, or he's dinged up and he gets to play a little bit, or it's in cleanup and it's handed off at the end of a game. You really wanted him to get some real-time experience in some real games somehow.
Yeah, I do not think Florida State has scheduled a warm-up game this year. A lot of LSU fans are still a little salty, spicy, whatever you want to say about them doing that. But look, you got a new special teams coach. You got a quarterback, two quarterbacks that are appreciably different and better, and that offensive line is going to be deeper. I think everybody, man, that first year, to see where you started against Florida State and missing 2 kicks, and really, the light didn't go on for Jaden until the last quarter.
Well, let's say he has a repeat of a 90-yard passing game. You know, another year of Nussmeier older and in the program, and you've got a lot of fans who are clamoring for Nussmeier. You know, how much more is he going to be willing to be patient, or even how much more is Brian Kelly going to be willing to be patient to push through when you've got Nussmeier sitting there?
Yeah, well, I don't think it's going to be a problem. I really do think that LSU is – look, you're going to pass the ball more because they're going to lean on those tight ends and all those receivers. And as we've talked about now, you got to get some healthy running backs. Josh Williams, Armani Goodwin, always been hurt a little bit, dinged up. I don't think anybody can depend on John Emery right now until we find out he's graduated and got all his academics.
100% Armani Goodwin versus 100% Noah Kane. Who do you playing?
Well, different skill sets, but Armani.
I love Armani Goodwin.
I do
100%.
too, but he's always got a bad ankle.
Yeah, but if that whole room gets healthy, which and they're supposed to be, Frank Wilson's got a ton to work with.
Absolutely.
But right now he's. Where did I run into him? Oh, I ran him at the national championship celebration in the PMAC that night, and Kelly and all the coaches were there and football players, and I told him how I was laughing about that day we were out there, and he was rolling around on the ground, showing the running backs how to actually fall on a ball that was on the ground, and it was of course early morning. He was dew on the ground. He was soaking wet.
Yeah. By the way, Noah Kane ran for double-digit rushing touchdowns. He's not the sexiest of guys. Neither is Josh Williams. They're very dependable. They don't
put the ball on the ground.
I don't put the ball on ground, and that's one of Emery's problems as well. But I want to see them bring in that monster 5-star running back that can take it to the house. And, oh, by the way.
I can't wait to see Trey Holly, though.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, is that the 24 to 25 class has got those 3 great running backs. Barry and Simon. 25. They've got some great ones on the horizon. So, and then we don't know what Caleb Jackson's going to do. But listen.
And it's always hard to sign 3 running back classes.
Yeah.
If you remember, that was the deal with Noah Kane while he didn't end up here initially. All right.
Good time to be a Tiger fan.
Absolutely, guys. All right. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button, notification bell if you haven't already on the way out. Got a lot of recruiting coming on TigerBait.com. If you're not a subscriber to us, please go try us out. $1, you can try us out. And if you're not going to try us out for $1, at least go and register for an account. I'm going to be sending out a free newsletter tomorrow, and that'll be jam-packed. You can get those for free. And, of course, hit the subscribe button here on your way out. Thanks again. Thanks to Buddy for being with me, as always. And we'll be back here live post-game. Press and I don't know if we're going to do a walk to the car or a driving deal. It'll probably be a walk to the car, but we'll figure that out on Saturday. But thanks for tuning in, guys. See you on the other side.